What's up, everyone? It's Wacka. Welcome you to finals of PWO. This week we're rematching Scary Terry, who basically had an undefeated run like the entire season, except for I think the last week. I think he lost the last week. Um, I don't even know who that was to, but going this long without losing a game is pretty freaking crazy in my opinion. Like, we had 13 weeks and then playoffs. I don't think I uploaded anything for like week 12 or 13 because I think I got forfeit wins, but um, yeah, it did kind of happen a lot this season. There was a lot of forfeits this season, so I think I only played like 9 or 10 games uh, for the season, and then I pretty much got a bye in quarterfinals because JT forfeit to me, but it allowed me to get back here to Scary Terry, and I figured out how to change my prep quite a bit. So I believe last time I brought Sandy Shocks with. Actually, I don't think I brought Sandy Shocks. I think I brought a Hatterene, Mega Beedrill, Iron Jugulis Blastoise, um, Caporaja. Oh, that's only 5 Pokemon. I don't remember if I brought. No, I brought Sandy Shocks. Yeah, I did bring Sandy Shocks. Um, However, the Sandy Shock set was not that good. I opted to bring um, Metal Sound Throat Spray. However, I missed Metal Sound. And then I got like Crit Moonblasted, so Sandy did nothing. But I figured out a way to make Sandy actually do something in this match, and that is Life Orb and putting whatever I could invest in attack with Heavy Slam. So Life Orb Earth Power into a Life Orb Heavy Slam will kill the Florges, and also chips down Hippowdon quite a bit. I wasn't really expecting Tangela to come this match, but even if it did, I had quite a bit of things for Tangela, such as Beedrill, Hatterene, Chestnut, Iron Jugulis, so I wasn't super worried about Tangela. But yeah, I changed my Hatterene set though as well to Life Orb Trick Room. Just kind of figured that I'd try to break through things, and I noticed last time that I had nothing to break through Delphox, so instead of Draining Kiss, I ran not Mystical Fire, I ran Dark Pulse, which is a move that Hatterene gets for some reason. Well, I guess it kind of makes sense for Hat to get it, but its color palette doesn't really make it look like a mon that would get Dark Pulse, but yeah. Our Beedrill is the same set running Poison Jab, U-Turn, Knockoff, but instead of Roost, I brought Toxic because I figured Toxic would help me break through Hippowdon a lot easier, because I'm assuming if there's no Fortress that Florges and Fortress. I'm assuming that Florges will be like defog over Aromatherapy, but if it isn't defog, or if it is Aromatherapy, then my spikes are pretty much up to stay, because I don't think Florges can really afford to run both Synthesis and, or not, sorry. I don't think he could afford to run defog and Aromatherapy / Shield Bell, so I figured that I could pressure in those ways. My Iron Jugulis is the exact same set. I changed nothing about it. Choice Specs, Hurricane, Dark Pulse, Earth Power, U-Turn is just kind of there to bait in the Florges if I can U-Turn. It also kind of just outspeeds and kills everything other than Raikou. And he could bring Jellicent, because I think Jellicent can live like any hit and kind of threaten me back, but no, I'm thinking of Sandy Shocks. My Iron Jugulis, I mean. So yeah, I don't think Jellicent's gonna come in on that. This time on my Blastoise, I ran like Flip Turn, Rapid Spin, Toxic, Life Dew, but instead this time, I opted to go for Flip Turn, Aqua Jet, Earthquake, and Rapid Spin, just in case they got up hazards with like Quillfish or Hippo, and then I could Aqua Jet in case I needed to kill things, because actually like Adamant and Zangoose puts Toice in Torrent range, which makes Aqua Jet do a lot of damage in case I have to get more damage on that thing. I just kind of like Aqua Jet just to clutch things out because I wasn't running Helmet. I opted to run Leftovers for some reason, but I think Helmet probably would have been fine. Um, and then our last mod is going to be Chestnut. So I was really close this week to running Adrenaline or Belly Drum, trying to bait in Quillfish to Intimidate drop me, and then I Belly Drum. Belly Drum isn't just a +6, it's like a +12 in attack, so if I had like -6 attack, Belly Drum would put me back at max attack and cut my HP in half, so Intimidate wouldn't really matter, and I'd have +2 speed, as well as +6 attack with Drain Punch, but I instead opted to go for a Spikes and Spiky Shield Chestnut because I wanted to see if I can try to keep hazards up. For some reason I kept thinking like, oh, Fortress should be coming for the Beedrill. I don't actually know why he didn't bring Fortress for Beedrill. I guess he brought Quillfish, and you know, Quillfish kind of checks Beedrill the same way, but I don't really know. I think Fortress would have been a little bit better for him, and it also would have blocked Poison Jab from doing anything, so it would have forced me to keep swapping out. But yeah, on Chestnut I was Spikes, Spiky Shield, Knockoff, and Seed Bomb. So yeah. Alright, and we're back. I actually recorded like this entire battle with the Prep Doc view on. I forgot to turn off the Prep Doc view. So now we're here in replay mode. Sucks that I recorded the whole thing before I realized that I was fucking up. But yeah, Terry ends up bringing the Hippowdon, Raikou, Tangela, Quillfish, Florges, and Zangoose. So the only Mon that he changed out was Delphox for Tangela, which I was kind of surprised about. I thought Delphox kind of destroyed me last time we played, but I guess I'm also, like, I guess I'm not, like, overly surprised he didn't bring Delphox. Tangela actually seemed like a bring that could happen because Sandy Shocks, is pretty much unpunished against, like, most of these guys, so yeah. So that said, starting the game, I'm gonna lead with my Iron Juggulus because I think I did this last time too. I figured he probably wouldn't lead Raikou or Florges, so I could bait one of them in and kind of get a read for what their item is, assuming that I hit my Hurricane, which I do. I find out that he's very Spadef Florges. I bring in my Beedrill because I figure he's probably going to Synthesis here. Because if he doesn't Synthesis and I can get Juggulus back in later, like, he's forced to sack him on, basically. So I'm going to knock off the Quillfish. And I'm going to crit him for a lot of damage. Crit with the Intimidate drop actually kind of sucks for him. But I go into my Blastoise. He's going to bring out his Zangoose and just go for huge damage pretty early on. I'm going to get a Torrent Boosted Foot Turn off. And now I'm going to bring in my Beedrill. Quick Attack doesn't kill me, so I knew I was pretty safe there. I'm going to U-turn, although I kind of think my play should have been to knock off again. I'm going to get up a Spike with Chestnut. I'm going to knock off his Violet because I figured I might as well just knock off his Violet while I'm here because my Sandy Shocks otherwise looks very good in this matchup. He's going to bring back in his Quillfish on my Spike. And I'm going to Spiky Shield because I thought maybe he'd just try to flip turn out. But now that I think about it, I think Gunshot was his best play. By the way, respect to Terry for running Gunkshot Quillfish. I remember someone telling me that I was a freak for running Gunkshot on Quillfish. He also ran Destiny Bond, so I was able to quick U-turn there into Toyce as he flip turns. He's going to bring in Florges, and I'm going to get off. Oh no, I don't flip turn because I didn't want him to kill me. Although I kind of risked his Quillfish actually killing my Toyce in the first place, which is kind of funny. So he's going to knock off, or I'm going to knock off the Helmet. And here that he's under half health, so I figured he'd slack off. So I get off a big Toxic, because now the Hippo it's going to struggle to stay healthy versus me. See, it's already back down to half, and I've barely done anything to it. I'm going to get up my Spikes as Tangela goes down. He's going to knock off my nothing. I think he already knocked off my Helmet. So now Beedrill's going to come in. He's forced to pretty much sack something here. He's going to go Zangoose, and I think he's threatening to quick attack me And that was actually kind of his best play because um, now that I think about it, I think if he didn't threaten to if he didn't threaten a quick attack on me, I'm pretty sure I won instantly because Florges, Tangela die, Hippowdon dies to like U-turn plus the spikes, and Raikou dies to like Poison Jab plus the spikes. So like he does actually kind of lose here. He absolutely had to bluff the quick attack there, but he's going to be able to bring back in Florges, and the reason he does is because he has to defog in order for Raikou to live a hit from Beedrill. So I'm going to bring in Beedrill. Beedrill is pretty much unpunished for Poison Jab at this point because Hippo is so low and it's poisoned. And U-turn will be able to knock out the Hippo. I'm going to bring in my Sandy Shocks, because he brings in Tangela, and instead of fucking with it, I'm just going to hard switch into Jugulus, in case the floor just might be a problem later. But I end up getting the plays correctly, and I just kind of pivoted around with a U-turn, and I was able to do all this stuff. The Raikou is a little bit bulky, as it kind of was last time. He's going to Scald, doesn't burn me, and thankfully I'm going to be able to Aqua Jet for some chip. Blastoise is pretty much useless at this point, so I sack it. Beedrill is faster than him. I crit the Raikou, crit totally mattered. And Poison Jab will knock out the Tangela, and that will be a win for me. So I get my revenge on Terry, and I get the chip here. And it kind of took me a minute to realize that I actually like won the chip here because the season has just been going on for so long. But it was fun. Doing a round robin with like everybody in the league is kind of fun, but I will say it does kind of drag. But for me, it wasn't that bad because I kept getting forfeit wins out of like inactivity from players. Like I got, I don't know, like 4 forfeit wins, maybe 5 for like a 16-week season. 16, which includes like week 1 to finals. And I even got a forfeit in playoffs. So it was kind of crazy, but you know, this team was really fun. It's gonna be sad to let these guys go. But I was actually thinking about it the other day that I might make a tier list of all the Pokemon that I've won chips with, and I'm gonna have to add all these guys to it. I believe this might be the second time I've won a chip with Chestnut, but I believe the first time I won a chip with Chestnut, it didn't do anything. But this is definitely the first time I've won a chip with like any of these other guys. I've definitely gotten close with Blastoise, but I've never used like Sandy Shocks. I've never used Hat. Never used Beedrill or Jugulus before. Well, I have used Beedrill before, but I didn't get far in the playoffs. But like these other 3, I've never used them before, and to be honest, I kind of enjoyed them all. I will say that Sandy Shocks was a little bit of a letdown most weeks. I don't think it did that much. I tried some things with it, but again, it really didn't like do too much. So I will have to consider maybe trying it out again. Basically, Sandy Shocks being like the best mon on the team was like a lot of pressure for me because I drafted around Hatterene and Beedrill, which I actually felt like weren't well, they kind of were the stars of the team, but I actually felt like the star of the team this season was the Blastoise. I think I used Blastoise every week. So yeah, actually, you know what? Let me rank my team members in order. I'm gonna have to go back to my prep doc view. So you're gonna see this. So who's the worst mon on my team? Oh, you guys can't see it. The worst mon on my team, I think. Will you guys be able to see it? Yeah, you'll be able to see it. Do we have 10 mons? Yeah, we have 10 mons. The worst mon on my team was Turtonator. This thing did absolutely nothing for me, like, all season. If anything, it, like, completely failed to even, like, 1v1 a Decidueye, which is a mon that is weak to its stab moves. I was clicking fucking Fire Blast, too. Like, Turtonator really sucks. It's kind of sad that they didn't give him a Mega, because I think Turt needs a Mega way more than Drampa does. Not to say that they both don't need a mega, but at least Drampa can, like, I don't even know. Actually, are their stats, like, similar? No, they're not. I saw the 135 and then the 36 speed, and I was like, huh. But they do have similar stats. Like, they have the... Oh, no, they do have the same stats, but they're, like, swapped around. I actually didn't fucking know that. That's cool. Anyways, yeah, Turtonator was the worst mon on my team. I think I only used it, like, once or twice. And it was, like, early season I used it, but then I realized that it fucking sucked, and there was no point using it. Next up, I'm gonna have to put Cosmo. I only brought it to, I think, one game. But the one game I brought it to, it could teleport very well. Which is a weird thing to say that, like, it did more than Turtonator, but I honestly think Cosmoem, like, helped me win against Kronos, like, quite a bit. Whereas I think Turtonator, like, almost lost... I think it did lose me a game. Cosmoem helped me beat Volcanion, and it gave me a sack to Cleaver, and I think that's a lot more than Turtonator could have offered me. I have to look at the rest of my team. Who do I think is next? Okay. I think, unfortunately, I have to put Unpheasant here. Unpheasant is a really cool mon, and I actually advise people, like, if you have a point left, like, you should try Unpheasant. I think it's a really good mon. And it was really good in the matches I brought it to. It was just kind of hard to justify bringing it over most of my other mons, to be fair. Basically, my team was, like, 7 mons with the funny Unpheasant, or, like, Cosmoem, like, twice this season. But Unpheasant really wasn't a bad team member. It actually performed really well in the games I did bring it to. Except for semifinals last week, I kind of sacked it to Scarf Tyrantrum, but at least it helped me realize that it was Scarf Tyrantrum, which is nice. But yeah, who do I think is next? Probably... I'm gonna put Caporaja next. I think it was, out of my main 7 mons that I was using this season, I think Caporaja was my least used mon of the main ones. There's just some matchups where, like, it kind of offensively struggled against a couple things. Like, it just couldn't break through some things, and it, like, I couldn't justify bringing it because it couldn't break through whatever that I wanted it to that week. And that was kind of it, but it really did, it had some really good moments. Like, I would say, like, the distance between Caporaja and Unpheasant was huge. And I think the distance between Unpheasant and my other bottom 2 is also huge. Like, Unpheasant is, like, in its own tier. Like, if I made a tier list, it would be, like, Turtonator F tier, Cosmoem D tier, Unpheasant, like, B minus, and then Caporaja is, like, B plus. Maybe, like, a C plus for Unpheasant, but B plus for, like, Caporaja. So I think Copper, it was really good. The fact that it power whipped through a lot of, like, bulky water types was really fun, and it performed very well. It helped me against quite a few people. I just don't think it was better than my top 6. And I think at number 6, I think I have to put Sandy Shocks. It was a good mon in prep. I liked using it a lot. It was just kind of a mon that I didn't really use it that much, like, in the game itself. Like, I prepped using Sandy Shocks, but it also just didn't really do much in the games, which I thought was interesting. But it kind of also meant that the rest of my team was just solid enough that I didn't need Sandy Shocks to be, like, my all-star player. But it was pretty consistent, I would say. Like, I didn't think, like, oh, Sandy Shocks sucks because it couldn't get these rolls. Like, I drafted Sandy Shocks knowing, like, oh, it doesn't have a lot of variety with its move pool, but I did find out, like, heavy slam against Forgus in finals was a good set, but a lot of the tech that I had with Sandy Shocks I just didn't end up getting to use, unfortunately. Like, it just kind of kept failing to do anything. And I think the first week I lost was my fault because I didn't keep my Sandy Shocks alive versus that Xurkitree. So that was actually my fault. I think next up I'm going to put Iron Jugulis. Iron Jugulis was, like, my MVP for, like, the first 3 weeks, I feel. It was doing a lot of things that I wasn't expecting it to do. Um, well, it did what I expected it to do, but I didn't expect it to carry as hard as it did in like a couple of these matchups. But it performed very well, and to be honest, I think I landed a lot more Hurricanes than I thought it would. So I respected Jugulis this season. Um, it was a pretty just slap on Mon. Like there's only I think 1 week where I struggled to like build with it, and then I think I opted to not bring it, or I just opted to run like choice specs one time because I didn't know like how else to bring it. I tried running like a physical set on it. It has 80 attack, but it has over high dragon. It has knockoff, so I was like, okay, maybe I could do something with physical Jug with like knockoff acrobatics, but it just does no damage, and it has no way of setting up. I really wish they gave this Mon like nasty plot or dragon dance still, but it just doesn't. But it is kind of funny that I think Jugulis is actually a better Mon than High Dragon. So the fact that I got to use it in low tier is kind of funny. But people will still admit that High Dragon is better, or they still think that it is. Next up, I'm gonna put Chestnut. Chestnut, I originally was gonna put by like Paparaja, but it really clutched out the end of the season. In finals, like it got up spikes, which wasn't like the biggest deal in the world, but the spikes ended up mattering for like Chip, and it forced Terry to play a certain way that it otherwise wouldn't have. There's also other games where like it just kind of walled a lot of Mons, like Cleavor and like Toad's Cruel. I'm thinking about Kronos like specifically. I think Chestnut had a really good showing against Kronos. I think it had a pretty good showing against T4U as well. Like once his Pheasantipity died, like Chestnut kind of like Chestnut was like my win con at that point. And it's kind of funny to see that because I thought in Gen 9 that Chestnut kind of fell behind, but the more I played it, the more I realized that it's still pretty good. It just kind of has to work around like some of its really bad weaknesses, and sometimes its offensive typing just doesn't do anything against a lot of Mons. Like Crobat like 4 times resist dual stab, and its attack, Chestnut's attack stat isn't really high enough to like really use it that well. So yeah, Chestnut is my boy. I absolutely love Chestnut. One of my favorite Mons of all time. I'm glad that he got to kind of show off in the playoffs. I think next up I'm going to put Hatterene. I think Hatterene was my kill leader for most of the season. However, I kind of felt like it was falling off towards the end of the season. I don't know if I was just like, if I was like too comfortable with it and I just kept like throwing it away at people. Like you could tell in finals, like Hatterene was just there to be a sack. I did not give a shit about Hatterene at all, but it kind of worked out for me like as a sack. I could have probably used it as like a Trick Room Mon, and there was a game in playoffs where I was gonna use it as a Trick Room Mon, but I ended up getting the forfeit win. It was gonna be a Trick Room Mon to get in Paparaja, so it was gonna be like Trick Room Healing Wish, but I didn't get to use it. It also has interesting tools like Nuzzle and like Dual Screens, which I didn't really get to utilize, and I don't really think Magic Bounce came in play that much, but I think just having Magic Bounce on my team helped me a lot at just avoiding hazards, because I don't think there was really a single person that like hazard stacked me and like won because of it, which is nice because I did not have good, well, I have good removal-ish, but looking at these Mons here, like my removal isn't really there. Like I have Defog, Unpheasant, and Magic Bounce Hat, but that's because who do I actually think is my MVP? I actually don't think it's him. I think Mega Beedrill is my second place. Mega Beedrill, I think, had a rough start to the season, but in the games it did really well in, it did very well. Like, I think I got 8 kills in playoffs alone. Just like the last 2 games, like it carried me through T4U, it carried me through Scary Terry. There was some people that did really well at prepping for Beedrill, but I think for a lot of people, like, they're forced to bring a Choice Scarf, and I think against the rest of my team, it was kind of hard to like actually want to bring a choice Scarfer. So I can kind of see where the issues came. And I think Beedrill, like, having it force that much prep was really good for me. It was actually a very consistent mon. Um, it just did so much damage with U-turn and like poison jab, where like it would force swaps, and then I could get in another mon. So like it really worked well on this team as like an offensive pivot. It didn't really come in play that much that like I drafted Hatterene with it, but it's possible that people just didn't bring rocks because I had Hatterene, so Beedrill was able to like stick around a lot longer, which was nice for me. And yeah, I don't really have much else to say about it. Like, Beedrill is potential mon, but it doesn't have to be potential mon. Like, it can just be a strong pivot that like forces out stuff and then forces in like something else, and that something else can kind of break something. Like, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of times where Beedrill was able to pivot out into like Jugulis, and Jugulis was able to just smash a button, because I started running like Specs Jugulis quite a bit. I don't think I ran Booster Energy like a single time on Jug or Sandy Shocks. I think Booster Energy is fucking weird, and I don't like that item. But yeah, my last mon, obviously, is Blastoise. I brought Blastoise to, I think, every game. I'm not even kidding. I'm pretty sure it didn't skip a single game. It had a good matchup in every game as well. Like, offensively, like, it looked decent. And in other games, it just looked so good defensively that it was able to keep Hazard. Well, in theory, it was able to just keep Hazards off the field because I just had such a good rapid spinner with Toys, and it had priority in Aqua Jet, which really carried me through a couple games. Flip turn, like, people were switching out on Blastoise because they didn't want to lose like whatever was in front of it. Not because Blastoise was like a threat. It was just that like Blastoise like threatened to like barely kill whatever's in front of it, or chip it down enough where I can revenge kill it with something else later. So Blastoise was forcing swaps, and actually Torrent was like very nice for me as well. Torrent boosted Aqua Jets and like Torrent boosted flip turns like actually kind of hit really hard. And the one thing about Blastoise I kind of wish I was able to run was like some form of setup. I could have run like Curse, but there was a lot of games where I was like, man, I really wish I could just click Shell Smash or Wave Crash. But I knew if I had like Shell Smash as a possibility on that mon, that it would just kind of people just run Mirror Herbs against me, and I'd end up losing a lot more. But it would have been fun, and it would have been a lot easier to just Shell Smash. But the fact that I had to run Blastoise like defensively every week really didn't I really didn't mind it. I think Blastoise Chestnut worked really well together. Even though I think Blastoise I used a lot as a Fizz-Def wall regardless. I think I didn't really have like a good Spidef wall. I think my Spidef wall was like Hatterene in most games. Or like Assault Vest Copperajah, or like Spidef Copperajah. But Blastoise, like, it tanked special attacks even though I was like Fizz-Def most weeks, so that was really cool. But yeah, this is my team ranked in order. Again, thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you guys maybe next season, my next draft. I'm still in SPS, which they're doing the Paldex season. I'm still in SDS, which is doing the new Megas, and I'm still uploading both of those weekly. I'm also on a team tour, which I'm not sure if I want to make videos and upload games, or like upload myself doing that, but it is a possibility. I'm not super good at like the team tour format bullshit, so yeah, but there's still more to come, and I'm probably gonna make some more like discussion type videos. I might even like ask for people to join in with me and talk about stuff. So yeah, thank you for the support and watching, and I'll see you guys soon.